banks, Reliance contributing about 30 points alone out of the 100 points. We have RIL, Coal India, L&T as well. Now, if you look at the losers within the Nifty 50, the biggest loser in trade today is Hindalco. That's down 13.5%. We'll discuss more on this in a bit. Other than Hindalco, we have Grasim, that's down 3%. After this, there's Adani Enterprise and Divi's Lab that's losing less than 1% in trade today. If you look at the broader markets, Nifty mid-cap is kind of trailing the index right now. It's up only 0.2%, but Nifty small cap is in red today. It's down 0.4%. If you look at the sectors now, we have Nifty IT that's on the losing end today. We saw some gains in the Nifty index yesterday, but that is all lost today. Other than that, we have Nifty Metal that's down over 2.5% in trade, some pressure there. We have Nifty Realty also down about 0.8%. And if you look at the sectors that are gaining in trade, we have the Nifty PSU Bank that saw in the last couple of days, but is up in green today, 0.1%. Other than that, we have oil and gas index that up 0.6% in trade. So that's and Nifty Energy as well, up about 0.8% in trade. That's where we currently stand on the markets. But the focus for today will be Hindalco. But before that, let me introduce you to the guests for today. We have Rohan Mehta of Total Wealth and Nirav Chheda of Nirmal Bang Securities joining us on the show today. Welcome, Rohan and Nirav, and thank you for taking the time out. Now, before I get into the questions, let's talk a little bit about Hindalco. Now, we're yet to see the results. It's due today. But yesterday, its subsidiary Novelis came out with its results. Now, the results were fairly okay, not a bad set of results. But however, there was a capex increase that was by 64%. If you look at the specific numbers, there is a capex in Bay Minette project, which was budgeted for $2.5 billion. However, the company said it's going to increase to now $4.1 billion. So that's a substantial increase, which is why we're seeing brokerages also coming out and saying that they are changing the guidance. Now, one of them, Kotak, if I'm not wrong, downgraded the return guidance from project to double digits from mid-teens. So that's where we currently stand. Now, Rohan, I'd like to come to you first on Hindalco. We're going to see some impact in the results today as well. But on what we have right now, what kind of impact do you see? And do you think this is going to hurt the company in the longer term?
You see, I believe that, we have seen Hindalco from last 8-9 years. Every time we have been bullish onto the company and something and another comes to it. It's maybe the international company, the subsidiary, and then maybe the, Indian arm. Something other than there comes on with the margin now to be a single digit margin and, the things which are happening around. There are certain things which are beyond our control. Maybe Hindalco somewhere around, it needs a rebalance onto the management side and new strategy to do the business. That's what we can expect, because it was at good profit with 13,000 crore. Then again, diminishing profit to now 8,400 crores TTM profit. And then, whatever the, new buying has happened, new capex has happened. So all things looks very clumsy. So on that point, from last 2022, we've been out of this, stock because nothing new. So we would wait for some management changes and then we come forward for we believe that the strategy of the company is somewhere hitting onto the, into the margins of the company. So yeah, for the time being, we would be out.
All right. Let's take a quick technical view from Nirav as well. We have some viewers who have already bought into Hindalco, and specifically we have a viewer, Rajesh Maheshwari, who's bought the stock at 458 levels. The stock is down 14% in trade today. What kind of strategy would you suggest, Nirav, from a short to medium term perspective?
Yeah. So, see, on Hindalco, looking at the overall chart, there was a breakout around the 500 odd levels, which it has come to retest now. It was on the verge of a long-term breakout above the 625, 650 levels, which it couldn't get. But now, the previous breakout has been retested. I believe it can probably take another 3-4 days around the same area, but this is a very good support area. So, in between 500, 490 is where you look to average out, even though you bought at 450 odd. I think this will be a good area to buy again. Also keep a stop loss of around 475 for your longs. Believe that again, that 600, 620 scale will be regained, and this stock can, pretty much reverse from current levels in the next 5-6 days. The process should start.
Right. So you're suggesting that this is a buying opportunity, Nirav. Okay, let's move on to the queries now. Now we have a specific query on Vintage Coffee. I'm going to come to you, Rohan. Rohan, would you have coverage on this stock? Vintage Coffee.
Sorry.
All right.
No, I don't.
Nirav, I'll take this one to you. This one's from Omnil Sawant from Carver. They have already bought in. No, they're asking if this is a good time to buy the stock. So based on the charts, would you suggest entering the stock right now? This is for a shorter duration.
Yeah, so I'll just take a minute or so to find the stock. I cannot even find the stock at this point of time. Just a second. Okay, so it's only in BSE, and this is one stock. I think it has a 5% circuit limit. In fact, a 2% circuit limit. Very difficult to really judge on the technicals for this stock. So, I would not like to give any view at this point.
All right. Next one is from Murlidhar Kalidasu from Hyderabad, and they're talking about Tanla. Now, Rohan, I think this is for the longer term. They are in a loss. They bought the shares at 1,179. Currently, the stock is below that, around 978. Would you suggest, we're talking about Tanla, and would you suggest holding on to this one for the longer term, or is it better to get out of the stock?
See, we had been into Tanla, understanding Tanla with the technology we have and they have, and they had done decent enough in last, to 4 to 6 months. With profit at near to all-time high, that is 538 crores, and this quarter also was at all-time high, near to all-time high profit with this quarter. I would suggest to hold on to the company. I think so. Still, there is a value left out in the company at 13,000 crore of market cap. Nothing much to lose in this.
All right, fair point. We have another question from Rajesh Ji. We've already talked about Hindalco, but he's talking about two other counters, which is REC and HPCL. Now, this is for the short to medium term outlook. Nirav, we've seen some pressure in the likes of REC, HPCL, PSU, PAC on the whole. But what's the short to medium term outlook for these? Would you suggest holding on to these two?
Definitely can hold on to HPCL. A long-term breakout has come in this stock, and this stock is only going to head higher. This is just a short-term correction that is taking shape. It's a good support around 480 odd levels, which it has retested. So definitely believe HPCL can now bounce back up above the 550 odd levels. Your first target would be around 550 from a near-term perspective. You can continue to hold with a stop loss of 480. For REC, it can take a little longer. So I would just suggest, if it comes up towards your cost, you can probably exit this counter, because it has seen a very huge run up, from sub 120 odd levels up to, those 500 odd levels. So definitely some consolidation should go on. So I'm not very sure about REC. Probably in the near term, it will not do much. It is better to move on from this one to another oil and gas stock named ONGC, which I believe can do very well.
All right. Next up, we're talking about Indiabulls Housing Finance. The question is coming from Raja, and they want to know if this is a good time to enter the stock. Rohan, from a long-term perspective, now Indiabulls Housing Finance, what's your view on the sector as a whole, and do you think the stock or the company aligns with that sort of growth within the sector?
See, first of all, there has been a lot of issues in this NBFC. Now, there are two perspectives to this. One is that if an investor feels that, I want to buy something, a trash down company, and then that is the reason I want to go forward for India Bulls, and that can be a turnaround story. I don't find any turnaround story as of now, but, this could be a story to buy out. Whether I would really go forward for, there are a lot of good companies available at great valuation in NBFC, coming to companies like Home First, or coming to companies like Credit Access Grameen, which are really very doing good with a very, very good management and very lesser NPA ratios. So would focus rather more onto the companies that are performing rather than the company which may or may not perform.
All right, fair point. These are the alternatives by Rohan within the NBFC space that you should look at. Next up, we're talking about South Bank. Now, Guna Sekaran from Tamil Nadu has already bought in the shares at the average price of 38 rupees. South Bank shares. Nirav, from a short to medium term view, how does it look on the charts?
Yeah, see, most of the PSU banks, I feel they still have a long way to go. Even this stock has given a very long-term breakout. So post 2017, this is the first time this stock moved above that 35 odd levels. So on the line chart, definitely believe it is now at a very good support area of around 32 to 30. It can probably remain in this area for the next couple of days or so, but then I believe, this stock should pick up pace and should move up towards those 50 odd levels. So definitely hold on. You can add more positions at current levels. The volume profile of the stock is also very good, and it's a rounding formation breakout. So that's another very good sign for this particular stock. So definite hold on to it. You can keep a stop loss of around 26 for longs from a short to medium term perspective.
All right, fair point. Next up, we're talking within the chemical space now. This is Vinity Organics, and the question is coming from Krishna Kumar from Kochi. Now, Rohan, this for the 3 years period. They bought the stock, but they reduced it in September, and now they want to know if this is a good time to enter again and accumulate the stock. Within the space, we have seen some headwinds in the chemical space in the past, but do you think that's we're past that now?
See, still, I believe chemical is not into the space of accumulation. Things are yet not the worst which we have encountered because the demand has been sluggish. Though we had seen certain companies with the pharma demand has been rebounding because nearly about 30-40% of specialty chemicals are with pharmas. So I would really suggest to wait for the time and wait for the things to get cool off. So I believe still the pain is there. Maybe it will take more than a year to go forward for picking up the pharma companies. We had seen most of the pharma company from 2021 to till today has been consolidated in structural range, and the numbers has been not been brilliant. So yeah, sell from my side, not an accumulation soon at all.
Right, fair point. The pain may not be over for the chemical space, but it's time for a short break now. We'll take more questions on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Ask Profit. Now, without wasting any time, we'll quickly dive into the questions. They're pouring questions, but if you haven't written to us, you should write to us on the WhatsApp number that'll be on your screen. I'm also tracking the YouTube live chat, so you can write to us there as well. Now, this one's for you, Nirav. We have a question from Hemant Kumar, and they're talking about futures, ITC and Britannia futures, and they want to know if they're going to recover anytime soon. They say they've seen some downturn in the ITC futures. What would you suggest how would you suggest playing this?
So ITC has witnessed a breakdown, a very important breakdown at that around that 430 odd levels, and post that the nearest support that comes in is around 380 to about 360 odd levels. So at this point of time, there's still some downturn likely for the stock. Another 5-7% downside is likely. So, probably if you can hold on, then, you can hold on till those levels, or it will be a good idea to exit the counter and then, look to buy around the 360, 380 band. For Britannia, I feel, the selling seems to be over. There is a likelihood of a bounce up to 5180, 5200 odd levels. Once that bounce comes in, exit the counter. Overall, don't see much upside even in this counter. It should remain largely in range of about 5200 and about 4950 in the next few days. So it has hit the lower band. Now, it is time for the upper band to be hit.
Right. Now, next up, we have a question from Jana Somik, and he's written to us on YouTube. This one's for you, Rohan. They say that they bought NHPC, NBCC, IOCL, but they've sold both, three of them. And now they want to know if they should re-enter these stocks. Now, Rohan, I want you to explain to the viewers, especially from the longer term perspective, what happens is when you're holding these stocks and there's a bit of a downturn that kind of goes on for a couple of days, a panic sets in, and even the long-term holders also start selling, and then when the cycle turns, they think that they should start buying again. What would you suggest in these cases, and specifically on these three stocks as well?
Yeah, I'll tell you my 17 years of experience that if you try to be smarter than markets, market teaches you that you are not smarter enough. So you lose your stocks, 1-2 times you could be smarter, and then one fine day the stock rises and you don't have anything into your counter. Now, I think so, it depends on what are the objective of an investor. If you're a very long-term investor, I don't think so it matters, because you have to understand that in classic bull market where the stocks are outperforming, there will be 15-20% or maybe 30% down a dip, and then again the stock rebounds. You can see the cycles of next, from like 200-300 years of financial markets, it would be the same. So you have to understand that you will not be able to carry the top and carry the bottom. Just focus on the numbers of what quarters they are posting and the business they are carrying forward. And if you're seeing great growth, then you may see some downtake also. So that's a part and parcel. And or else, if you can't see, there are stocks which are available at a low beta stocks which can be there. So talking to NHPC, IOC, and BPCL, whatever the cluster what we're talking, I believe still there is a lot of steam available in the companies, available at still at 5 times, 10 times of valuation, huge growth perspective, very focused now. Government is on to the government companies. So on all that aspect, I believe that the stocks can do much more better than what we have thought. And if you specifically talk of IOC or BPCL, HPSL, maybe OMC companies, still they are coming out of 17 years of their 7 years of their consolidation, and NHPC have come down after 15 years of their consolidation. So there's a lot of value out over here. If you're getting a deep out of it, I think so if you're a long-term investor, you should go forward for it.
All right, fair point. Thanks for that explanation, Rohan. As a long-term investor, you should not worry about the downturn and upturn in the markets that usually last for a few days. But moving on to the next one, we have a question from Naman Deora. They're talking about two stocks here. Zensar Technologies that they bought at an average price of 563 and Traction that they bought at an average price of 110. Now, Nirav, they say that they bought it from a perspective of 6 months, but they are now willing to hold on a little bit longer. So, based on the charts, how do these two look, and what kind of targets that you can tell us for these two?
Yeah. So, Zensar Tech, it had witnessed a good breakout, a rounding formation breakout but it couldn't sustain the same, and it has come below the breakout again. So, from a 6-8 month perspective, I think, it can take good support around that 480 odd levels. It can probably come till there. You can average, at those levels, and there can be some very good targets that can come in this stock once that, 550 is broken on the upside again. 800 is what I'm looking at this point of time from a 6-month perspective. But the first thing near term, it should come down to 480. So hold on for that level. The other stock was, I think, Traction, right? So for Traction, there is a channel kind of a formation breakout, and the breakout is being retested again. The breakout was around 98 odd levels, and that has been retested now. So it might take a couple of weeks for this stock in the same area, but I believe this stock is headed higher. Volumes have grown as well as the breakout came in. So the breakout is being retested. It can now go on towards those 135, 140 odd levels, and from a 6-month perspective, probably 160 plus is what I'm looking at. But definitely you can hold on to both these stocks and average both these stocks at current levels and on some dips for Zensar, good 50% upside from here.
All right. Thank you so much, Nirav and Rohan, for joining us. Unfortunately, we are completely out of time. And viewers, thanks for tuning in. If we were not able to answer your questions today, we'll be back tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. and we'll take all of them tomorrow. But lots more coming up on NDTV Profit. Stay tuned.